Boom! That was what you call coming over the top of a lazy jab. Ladies and gentlemen, this was a very defining night in the sport of boxing. But it's nothing new to the scene. Today's commentary is about breaking down the fight and what happened and what gave me the signs prior to the fight that Daniel Jacobs was not going to go out there and go fisticuffs with my man Kid Chocolate. He was going to use his ring cachet and his boxing IQ. I was watching a few videos the other day, commenting on a couple of you guys out there, and what I saw off to the side in the column with other other videos were topics of discussion, and Daniel Jacobs was in a position. He was referring to his chinny situation, and his direct quote was, well, he has to hit it in order to hurt me or knock me out. At that point exactly, I knew what his game plan was. I looked at Wifey and I said, Daniel's gonna step back, pace himself, and make Peter Quillin walk to him. You know what that does? It causes the person to walk forward to set himself up. And the golden rule of boxing, let me rephrase that or repeat that. The golden rule of boxing is you never follow a puncher. Why is that, Fight Doctor? Well, as this video began, you saw this. And if you follow a puncher, you'll see this. And that's how fast it happens. That's why I do that at the beginning and some of the end of the videos, to give you an idea what these fighters see prior to being hit. All they see is the thing that blinded them. From that shot, how did this all materialize? Well, what Daniel Jacobs decided to do, instead of go walk straight to him and bang with him, he respected Kid Chocolate's punching power, because it's obvious that he studied tape. And as he and his team realized something, that Kid Chocolate can pop. He doesn't have that one punch KO power, but we don't need to get up in there and get caught with something and give him false confidence. So what we're going to do is elude his punches, set him up space just right outside of that line. Like I said prior in another video, we're going to get you just in a position where you think you can hit us, so you will start trying shots. So he spaced right at the perfect distance and then one hair back, and he walked backwards. Soon as the fight began, before one punch was thrown, I said, gosh, he's gonna set him up. Did I know he was gonna knock him out? No way. I didn't even think he would win when it came down to outboxing him. When it came to their hands, I knew he would use the ring better. And we all know whoever has the best feet wins the fight. That's just 9 times out of 10, unless something like last night happens. So as he spaced them, Kid Chocolate holds his hands right here. That's why I tell you, if you're unqualified, do not be out there sharing information, because what happens is stuff like that. You tell somebody something, they do something wrong, they get knocked out. I always say it. Make sure if you're teaching, you put the time and the work into the basics. Kid Chocolate should have known better first to walk to a puncher. He should have just made him come back to him. I was saying this as the fight was going on. Secondly, he should not extend the jab out there and bring it back low. That's what caused him to get countered over the top with a right, pow, that right hand. Third, his team should be ashamed of themselves for not teaching him to hold when he's hurt. That's Boxing 101. My biggest knock on Peter Quillin prior to this fight was that he did never ever attack the body. That's why he hasn't closed shows lately until he fought this lesser foe, the last fight. Why is that? Because it takes a lot of work to learn how to tie up in the midst of a real fight with a real fighter. This level is different. So he felt the strength of Daniel Jacobs. He thought he could weather the storm, but that wasn't the real situation. The real situation is he didn't have the wherewithal how to tie him up. And that's obvious, because if someone hits you and you know they got popped, you're going to tie them up if you're able to. We had to work with our fighters, and most of these guys were heavyweights that I was working with. They learned, they walked through it, and they did it every day. They would get beat in sparring on a regular basis to learn how to tie up, because you're going to get beat up in sparring trying to learn to tie up, because it'll be a while before you actually master it. So what that says to me is his team has not put forth the effort to cement that level of skill, that defensive prowess. That is mindfulness in boxing. So those are the things that he did wrong, and that's why he got knocked out. And that's why you'll get knocked out if you don't learn these skills. It's the same reason why I created a camp, so people can learn how to box and learn how to get in condition to box. And like I said, I always speak to it because that's the reason why I created it. I mean, I could just say, hey, I'm just going to get with real fighters. Or I can teach people who don't know anything about boxing, so when they know what they see on boxing, they're aware of what's going on. Like last night, people just think it was a rock'em sock'em knockout, but it was skill. It was set up prior to the fight because they knew what Peter Quillin was going to do. And they knew it was going to come into fruition. And he clearly hurt him with that right hand over the top. He was walking back. It's just like Ali did. Pop, pop, Sonny Liston. Phantom punch. Right hand, left hook. Good night, you're shook. And that's what I wanted to allude to and say to you guys this morning. After this historic night in Brooklyn and this historic night in the sport of boxing, a new giant is on the horizon. This boy is the real deal. I will no longer question his boxing cachet or his capability to take things to the next level, because it takes a real fighter to take the chance to walk back and do that the way he did it. That is, from now on, my boy. I will not bet against Daniel, the Miracle Man Jacobs, again, unless he gives me true reason to. So that's what I got for you today. And I thank you guys for watching, because I'm the Fight Doctor and this is Master Boxing. And this is where we break the fight world down, round by round. Shouts out to my boys in BrooklynFights.com. Go out there, and I named all of the top media forces out there yesterday, but I missed one key guy, and that's Radio Raheem. So go to his channel and make sure you see that video that he did with Peter Quillin post-fight. The guy knows exactly what to ask. He has total wherewithal when he's in front of those fighters. He does not get shook. He's sharp, and he asks the right questions. And Peter Quillin, class personified. That's all I gotta say. A classic fight, a classic night. That's why I got the classic attire, because it's vintage. My boy, I'm out. Leave your comments. What did you think about the fight? Who would you like to see my boy Daniel Jacobs fight next? This is Master Boxing. So long.